This is where we left off. This thing just looks so crazy. It's hard to even the lighting's all weird because half of it's in the sun and half of it's in the shade. So it's hard to even appreciate the monstrosity that we've created. Today's the day though. We are gonna finish this thing up. We had a couple setbacks, all right? A couple unexpected setbacks. All of the setbacks are sort of right here. The plasma table is in shambles, as you may be able to see. We had to do some reconstructive surgery, as I like to call it. I was having some issues with the Z-axis carriage, which is what this thing's called, that helps the actual torch go up and down. So I had to disassemble that, and I've been waiting on some replacement parts, and then you can see there's nothing there. That's usually where this table goes, and this thing is just, I mean, it is past the end of its life. It's a pretty lame design that it comes in two halves, because it's supposed to hold water, like fluid. Anything that is supposed to hold a liquid should be one piece, and that's honestly the only complaint I have about the plasma cutter. So that seam has just been leaking. I've disassembled it, resealed it, gone over it a million times, and it just leaks worse and worse and worse. And then the whole thing, this was stainless steel at one point, but it's stained all right, and the whole thing is just warped beyond belief, and they actually are sending me a replacement free of charge, which is really cool. Langmuir has that's the brand of plasma table. They have some of the best customer service I've ever had, which is amazing. So all of the replacement parts that I need are coming this week, free of charge, which is really cool. But it's on hold for now. And then the other kind of unexpected setback is we are leaking from the 240. I don't know if it's power steering fluid or oil yet. I was able to drive it home last night, but I haven't done any investigating to see what's going on. So that's a thing that has to get dealt with. But more importantly, I want to get this done. And I know you guys probably just want to get started on the rail, but let me be me. I want to show you this. Couple of bummers going on, right? But I want to show you first. Doing a quick little pan around here. Do you see it? Are you able to notice it? Yeah? No? It's a beautiful goddamn day out. Not a cloud in the sky. The rain is done, and while I do love the rain and the storms we've been having, I can appreciate a nice sunny day. Trees are blossoming. I mean, look at that. Finally cleared the driveway. You remember there's piles of rocks everywhere. This was just a disaster. I finally got this clean. Hot tub, cold plunge, everything's working. Everything's looking great. I took a naked cold plunge this morning, and I watched the shrinkage occur in real time. Honestly, I forgot how much energy cold plunging in the morning gives me, because I feel good. Got this rock pathway all the way to the fire pit zone, fully finished. All of the rocks that we had extra of, I used them. It looks great. Come on out here to the fire pit zone. Look at that view though! Seriously, it was a nice day out, dude. That's all I wanted to show you. We can get started on the rail now. So we really are just about there. Honestly, I think rolling the tube was the hardest part. And aside from that, I mean, we have the gussets, we have the feet, all three of them. All we need are the legs cut to size and notched. Here's what we have. I really hope that I don't have to go to the steel supply store. Oh, we might be cutting it close though. I'm hoping that this will fit as the middle leg right there. It's gonna be a little wonky because when I made the reverse rainbow rail, I made it as a standalone rail. So I didn't start that project with the second continuation of it in mind. I think had I known that I'd be adding to it, I would have pushed this leg back a foot, give or take, you know what I mean? Because I think on this rail, I'm gonna have a leg here. So it's gonna be, two legs right next to each other, but I want them both to be able to be standalone rails. So we can have the reverse rainbow rail, or we can have the roller coaster rail, or we can unplug them and have a regular rainbow rail. So we're gonna have one leg, one middle leg, and then one end leg. So bit of a moment of truth here. I think this should be good. Come on, baby. Oh yeah. We're chilling. We got plenty of space there, so that's good. That's gonna be our middle leg. I gotta have two little end scraps somewhere. Yeah, I feel like both of these right here should be perfect, actually. All right, so I'm gonna have one there, and then one over there. That one's cutting it kind of close, but that'll be perfect, actually. 1, 2, 3, that is all we need. Honestly, the only thing that I'm somewhat hesitant of, that I actually ran into the same issue when I was doing the original reverse rainbow rail, it's getting the length of the legs correct. And some of you might not like my approach here. With this one, to find like the length of the middle one versus the length of those, I did some crazy math. I talked to my homie who's an actual engineer that does this type of stuff professionally, and he helped me actually calculate the radius of the roll versus this length versus the length of that to find how tall that needs to, like, it was a whole thing, a whole equation. And this, I don't want to do that. And at the end of the day, it is a DIY skate rail that realistically I'm probably going to be one of the few people to skate it because it's at my house. So I think we're going to get by with good enough. This ground, this asphalt stuff is super uneven though. I mean, you can see right here, that middle leg isn't even touching the ground. But if I bring it in the garage, it is obviously. The only problem is that the garage floor isn't perfectly level either. It's graded for drainage as well as it's cracked and warped over 30 years. I think I'm gonna bring it right here, kind of lay it out to the best of my abilities and just eyeball the measurements. And again, we're going by good enough here. I don't even know if we're gonna have enough space in here. Maybe it'll be cutting it close. Okay. Yeah, good enough. I lied. I was having second thoughts of that whole good enough thing. I moved the leaky 240 out of the way, so at least we have enough space to actually lay out the whole rail. And what I've been doing is I've been placing the feet on the ground to account for that 1/4 inch that it's gonna add or subtract. Then I've been going through with my $2 Harbor Freight angle measurer thing, and I've just been finding those angles. This one's 90 degrees, or at least close enough, and then these two are pretty similar, around 70. And then I also measured from the bottom to the plate there. I took all of those measurements down, and that should be everything we need. So this is where I always mess things up. So you can see how we have to use the tube notcher to get that curved cut in the legs, because obviously if we just cut it straight, it's flat and that won't rest up against that to be welded. So I have the tube notcher that uses a hole saw to cut out the actual diameter of the tubing, as you can see there. But for whatever reason, my little squirrel brain has such a hard time calculating it all, because I'll show you the tool. Great, I lost it. Oh no, it's right here. This is the tube notcher, and we mount that in the vice grips over there. That's the hole saw. You can kind of see how it works. It takes the flat edge and it turns it into that, which can then rest up on the rail. The hole saw that I'm using is a 2-inch diameter because the tubing that I'm using is 2-inch diameter tubing. If my calculations are correct, which they literally never are, I even labeled it here. Bottom of the notch is 17.25 inches, 25.5 inches, and 13 inches, which means that to cut using the bandsaw, I should just add 1 inch to all of those. 18.25, 26.5, and 14. And again, this is, I'm talking out loud to hopefully make this make sense in my head. That's because we need it longer with the straight cut, because when we go through with the 2-inch hole saw, we use half of it, which would be 1 inch, to cut that little half circle, which minus an inch would equal the right numbers. Right? Right? That's right. So I think the logical next step here is to mark those numbers. 18.25. All right. Pretty self-explanatory now. I go through with the band cutter and I go through with the band cutter, I go through with the bandsaw, and I cut these to size. And again, I actually mislabeled this. So this is the bottom of the straight cut, but when we go through with the notcher, it's gonna be an inch below that. So ignore that marking. All right, tighten that up. That is right on the line. Add some lube and get to cutting. Pretty straightforward here, right? We have our 3 legs, and now I marked them. That's gonna be the bottom of the notch at 70 degrees, that's gonna be the bottom of the notch at 90 degrees, and that's gonna be the bottom of the notch at 75 degrees for all 3 locations. The one thing that's interesting is that the 2 outer legs on both sides are, as you can see, they're different heights. Whereas on this one, that leg and that leg are the same. It is symmetrical. I was trying to figure out why it's not, and I think it's because I didn't replicate the radius. So like whatever radius that is different than that one, just because I was an idiot that I didn't mark it down or take note of it or anything. So we just eyeballed the curvature to try to get it to match the purple one. While it looks close, it's clearly off a little bit because the angle in which it's coming up there doesn't match the angle in which it's coming. But then does that make sense or not? Regardless, the rainbow rail, not the reverse rainbow rail, the new rainbow rail as a standalone obstacle, that side's gonna be higher off the ground than that side. I haven't quite figured out why. I think the fun of it, the novelty of it's gonna be skating them connected, which is gonna work fine. But now I am curious if someone much smarter than me in the comments can tell me why, just so I know for future projects, because it's interesting. We're starting with the easy one, which is gonna be that middle leg, which is notched at 90 degrees. So you can see the hole saw lines up on that line, which is the bottom of the notch, and now we hope it works. All right, before we do the other ones, let's just see if that worked. In a perfect world, which we don't live in theory, this should just slip right. Oh, it actually did work. Would you look at that? Cool. Oh, I love when things work. Okay. Here's where things get interesting. You can see that those aren't perpendicular anymore. They're at a slight angle. We set the notcher here to 105 degrees because you can see, I don't know if you can see in there, I labeled it at 75 degrees, but it was the wrong way, so I did, it doesn't matter. Instead of 90 minus 15 degrees, I did 90 plus 15 degrees. We have the line right where the hole saw goes, so it should just go burp. That should give us that angle right there. Should. That's the key word that I really hope this one works. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Tell me that worked. Oh, yes. Yes. Ha ha! It works. Look at that. Do you see how that worked? Dude, that came out perfect. And then we have this one. And now for the last one. All right, let's go. We got that leg in, we got that leg in. We just got this one notched and grinded down. And the moment of truth, oh, it looks like she fits. Hoo-hoo! Look at that. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is a success if I've ever seen one. I'm still a little bit confused, because see what I mean, how that leg is taller than that leg. I think it has to do with the angle of the purple one, because obviously if I was making this rainbow rail a standalone obstacle, I could just rotate it kind of on that axis until those two legs were the same height, but then it wouldn't plug in directly to that, and that's what I want to prioritize right there. I'm just wondering for future reference how I would make them both symmetrical. My brain wasn't liking that. My brain wasn't comprehending how I could bend the tube, but one side is higher than the other. The explanation that I was telling myself, where it's like, oh, it has to do with the purple one. It wasn't making sense. So I was sitting here for a little bit, off camera. I was just standing here kind of looking at it, and then it clicked. You guessed it, I'm an idiot. Okay, well, this is a bummer for multiple reasons, but it's fun. It's a good thing in the end. It was gonna bug me having it be like off center, and now we can fix it, but kind of have to start over. I didn't account for the droop, for the sag. Always calculate the sag. I just had this thing plugged up into that one, right? So there's no support besides the little piece inside there. And sure enough, you guessed it, we can just lift that up and set it down and lift it up and set it down, and it doesn't have any impact on the crease here. And sure enough, here is our taller leg. So this is the one that was over there that I was like, why aren't they both this height, right? Here's our shorter one, right? Fits up perfectly to the end of the rail there. But guess what? We just use our brains a little bit and we lift it up. The big one fits perfectly, and that would make them a uniform height. So we can see here, that measures about 18 inches to the top there, and if we come over here, you would see that sure enough, it sits right around 18 inches, making them even. Now, why is that a bummer, you may ask? Well, because now that we lifted up that end, our centerpiece is no longer the right height, because we lifted up the entire rail there. Ow. Who put that there? I'm stubborn, and I don't want to go to the metal supply store to get more metal. So I'm gonna put in way more work than I should to extend that middle leg and then recut another one of those. So here we are, essentially starting over. I guess not really, but we're cutting out some extensions right here. And then here's kind of showing it how it works. So you put the sleeve in there, and then you put the extension over that sleeve. And boom, there is your enlargement surgery. And then it's just a matter of welding around the, what is it, circumference, diameter? Grinding it down. The grinding's what took the longest. It was a solid 15, 20 minutes of grinding. All right, I'm not gonna lie, that actually wasn't that long. You can see that our erectile enlargement surgery went well. We have the extra couple of inches that we needed on the legs that we needed. Now that leg and that leg are the same height. This leg should fit right up in the middle like that. And now you can see the vision that I had originally, where that is now a uniform rainbow rail where both sides are the same height. I'm glad I did that. It didn't take that long. Actually, it wasn't that big of a deal. I am sweating though. It's hot down here. Everything's looking good. I think all we really have left is to use some 90-degree magnets to make sure those stay perpendicular. And then really, we just weld them up. It's done. I've been looking at this for a couple of minutes now. It's gnarly. I gotta charge the camera battery for a sec. I'm just gonna finish it up, get it painted, and I'll just show you guys it when it's done. Bro, I am filthy. I have been working on this thing for the past 3 hours since I last said I was done. We had to perform a little bit of reconstructive surgery. We kind of had to start over on one side. I painted it orange, kind of as a placeholder, because I was out of every other paint besides orange. I think at one point, I mean, it's like a rainbow rail. We gotta paint it rainbow at some point. But I just wanted to get something to coat all of the welds to make sure it doesn't rust. And then, I mean, I completely ruined the paint job once I had to do the surgery down here. As you can see, I went over it with red paint because, again, I ran out of orange paint. We had some wobble. I didn't put that foot on correctly, and there's a whole bunch of wobble, so and I didn't notice until after I fully welded everything. So I had to grind it down completely, clean it up, start over. Typical me not double checking before welding everything. So yeah, it kind of looks like shit right now. We got to go over it again with another paint job at some point, but all the welds are protected from the weather, which is all I care about right now. And there we have it. There is our standalone rainbow rail. There is our standalone reverse rainbow rail. And if all goes according to plan, we can just plug it in like that. This is big. Oh my God. Oh my God. Here it is in all of its glory. The seam is flawless too. That came out beautiful. Everything looks pretty good. Usually I feel bad about hitting it with wax for the first time because it ruins the beautiful paint job, but we already did that. So I feel no guilt whatsoever going over it with some wax. I am scared of the rail though, I'll tell you that right now. Let's get the reverse rainbow rail waxed up too. Oh, yep. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm scared. I'm scared of my creation. Do I have to skate it? I gotta work my way up to it. Okay. The seam, I don't feel the seam at all. The seam came out beautifully. I gotta go so much faster than I want to go. It's tall, dude. It is 100% sackable too. Come on. Oh my God. Oh, it's right there. I tried popping on earlier on the purple rail because I'm kind of like weenieing it out right now. We'll get there. It feels like a roller coaster rail. Oh, come on! Oh, it's right there, dude. Come on, man! I'm scared to go faster. You know, sometimes you just gotta run away from your problems. You gotta be kidding me. Oh, that was the speed too I was talking about. This is hard. This is hard to skate. Dude, I keep getting stuck at the top. Maybe we need to switch the angle. That's clearly what the problem is. How's that? It's just really... Wow, that's close to my face. It's just really hard with the lighting. At this point, I just gotta land it. need to go faster, but I'm scared to. Did it, baby. Well, okay, I learned one thing for sure. I 100% could have got away with like half of the radius, right? So like that one would be way mellower and that one would be way mellower. So yes, it's hard to skate, doable for sure. Like I'm sure once I get the hang of it, I'll be able to do multiple tricks on it, but it's up there with like some of the scarier obstacles I've skated. I also think, so okay, this video was building it. I'm exhausted, I'm sweating, I'm done. I'm down to do a part 2 where we do some trick requests from channel members. We actually have a session on it, you know what I mean? I'm not too sure how many tricks I'll be able to do, but I think taking it down a hill would help a lot. Because like if you're going down something, it helps you build the speed to go down it, or I can just stop being a pussy and go faster. But we had a vision, we came, we conquered, we got it done, and now I am gonna go in the shower and be done with this now, because I'm hot. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. Honestly, I think I'll say it, I love making things like this a little bit more than I like okay, maybe not. But I love making stuff. Like that's where the passion is. But it's only fair, I do have to test out what I make, obviously. So if you got any other crazy, ridiculous ideas of rails you want to see, like comment them. I'm down to do whatever. Hope you guys enjoyed this. This was a hell of a lot of fun. I think it came out great. Thank you for watching. Channel members, appreciate you all. Catch you next video. Peace out.